Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and I want to take a moment here and we're going to talk about some of these side projects that you should build. People ask about like Starkiller, Grand Inquisitor, Aphra, all that stuff. We're going to talk about when you should build that for your account. So make sure you guys like and subscribe, comment down below, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Again, I do want to take a minute and thank my channel members. You guys are all amazing. I really appreciate your continued support of this channel. Hopefully we get back into the swing of things of streaming our GACs. We'll kind of see how that goes. But again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your support. If you guys need a shameless plug, because there's got to be shameless plugs in these videos nowadays, link for channel memberships down below. Otherwise, subscribe. I really want to hit 10,000 subscribers. When we do that, there'll be something fun. It'll be a Relic 9. I can't promise that it's going to be Coruscant Underworld Police Jack, but we can do something. So in the game here, let's talk about some side projects. So there's a couple of like really good side projects. And so the first one I want to talk about is Starkiller, right? This is probably the most popular. So this is one that you need to do between major farms. The reason I say this is because it's 3 Cantina characters. Like Mara Jade is on a hard node, but Kyle, Darth Talon, and Dash are all in the Cantina. So when you think about your roster as a whole, you're going to be spending a significant amount of time farming Cantina for those 3 characters. So you need to plan it to be in between major farms because you're going to be stuck on relics for a long time because of this. Right? You're going to get put in this relic sinkhole because you don't have the time to be able to do all of those farms right in a row. So in between 2 Galactic Legends, take your time and do Starkiller. I think in my farming guide, I've got him between Jabba and JML. You go and get your Starkiller. Because it doesn't, like, the thing is, with Mara Jade being on a hard node, you can kind of just do her when you have the time. Like, you could get her to 7-star before you even start these guys, and then you can go do these guys, right? This is a farm where I say that there's not a lot of planning involved, because as long as you get Mara Jade, like, get Mara Jade to 7-star, and then the other 3, it's just like boom, 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 right in a row. There's not this, like, coordination between hard nodes and ship nodes, and, like, it just is, like, primarily Cantina, so makes Starkiller pretty easy to get. Between your major farms is when you want to get him. Again, I'd say anywhere between your, like, so you'd go, like, my farming guide is Executor Jabba, then Starkiller, Jedi Master Luke. You could also I'd put him between, some of those major things. That's where he goes. Obviously, Jack, you're killing me, and our king is down here. Again, guys, our king is sitting on a lofty Relic 8 throne. Alright, so Inquisitors is the next one. And this, to me, I understand that Inquisitors aren't technically a side project because, you're trying to get Grand Inquisitor, who then gets you Riva. Like, they don't quite fit that side project per se, right? I have them on here because this is a situation where you need to read the room with your Inquisitors. If you don't know when to farm them, read the room. And I mean that in the way of, if you're in a guild, and your guild is like, hey guys, we're pushing for Riva shards, get Riva ready. Time to start getting those Inquisitors up and running, right? Bump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. At the same time, if you're in a guild that really isn't prepared for Riva, right? They're like, we don't really care. You don't need to worry about farming them, at least for your guild, right? Now, here's the caveat here. Let's say you're in a situation where your guild is really pushing Riva and you're not in that situation. You're in potential that you could get kicked. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but that's just potential. And on the flip side, though, let's say that you do want to get Riva and your guild isn't making that push and they're like, we don't care, right? It doesn't matter to us. Maybe you go and find another guild, right? That either read the room or find a new guild. Like you're going to have to match it with what you want. My guild, and again, right now is a really tough time to make this because again, Grand Inquisitor is going to come out like tomorrow probably. But there's not a lot of Grand Inquisitors in the game. So a lot of people are still waiting for this event to come back around anyway. So this might be less of a point later on, but right now, just kind of read the room. Okay, Dr. Aphra is next here, and she's going to require a little bit more planning because you have 2 Cantina nodes and 2 hard nodes. So you're adding an additional hard node there. Not that they're super difficult to get. It just adds a little complexity that, you can't just, like, go farm Mara Jade. You could just go farm her whenever you feel like. BT1 Trip 0, you got to be a little bit more intentional about their farming. You need to kind of really think about how you feel about their path, right? Like farming them, then going in the Cantina, grabbing Sana, grabbing Hondo. With her, I've seen people get her early, kind of like Starkiller, because she's only 4 requirements, Relic 5s. It's a very easy thing to do. What I'll say is that BT1 and Trip 0 you can use in the squad with Aphra, and that's like golden. But with Sana and Hondo, they don't really impact your account at the time, right? Like if you go and get them before you get a Starkiller, for example, you're not going to have any way to really utilize Hondo or Sana Staros. You won't have the teams necessary to be able to fully utilize them to their fullest potential. Compare that to if you go and get Dash, you go and get the Starkiller requirements, right? Mara Jade you're going to use with Starkiller himself. Kyle fits into the Rebel Fighter team, which you're going to build for Jedi Master Luke, and Darth Talon fits into any Sith team ever. So now you're using 3 of those requirements like on the daily, and then Dash is a pilot for the Outrider, which is one of the most important Rebel ships, and in the Profundity fleet. So you're going to get really good use out of all of these very quickly because Dash, you get his ship, and it is a really good ship. Even at 4 stars, it's still a great Rebel ship. Kyle's got a good ship. Like these Wrecks, I feel are much easier to slot into lower level rosters than the Aphra requirements. Again, just one man's opinion on what they think and the way the game works. That I think the Starkiller requirements make a lot more sense earlier on than the Aphra ones do. All right, Dash Rendar. So building the Dash team is a side project because you're going to get Dash either through Profundity or Starkiller. But then he's got his whole smuggler team, right? The prepared crew. So the 2 key members to this squad are Vandor Chewbacca and L3. Right, Vandor for the revives with prepared, and L3 for that crazy taunt, right? Just one of the most annoying taunts to get around in the game. So with those, you need to be purposeful. Because L3's in the cantina, Vandor's on a hard node. It's a lot of energy that you're going to be spending just to get those 2 characters. But then you need the other ones, right? So some people will use IG-11 and Queel as the 5th members. Enfys Nest can fit here. Hondo Onaka can even fit down here. Young Lando and young Han can fit into this team. There's a lot of characters. Figure out what's going to work for you, right? With Dash, you think about it like this. You need to be purposeful, right? Like this team, don't go and just build like myself. Like I built Vandor and I'm starting to try and build L3. I just can't get to the point because I don't have the resources in my cantina to be able to finish her off. I was working on her. I was getting her up and then Leviathan got announced, so I had to switch back to single data. So I am planning to finish her off because I do really want to use that team. But this is a situation where you need to figure out what's going to work for you and your account. Like my Enfys Nest is only 1 relic level away, and I could get to relic 5, and then like who else do I take? So that's where you got to kind of be purposeful with this, right? Build this team out. Just figure out when it's going to make sense. And this kind of goes hand in hand with when you notice in GAC that you're starting to lose a bunch of stuff because you might not have that Dash team. Maybe that's the time to build it. So just keep that in mind. All right. Now Sana Staros also has her team of rebels. You're going to build this after Aphra. I would get Dr. Aphra before I would get this Sana team up and running. So this is the Sana team, right? This is what I think a lot of people use for it. It's a very good team in Grand Arena. Again, Stormtrooper Han, not hard to gear at all. Right, he's an old character, so there's not any Kyra-Techs. Kara, I believe, has Kyra-Techs. I don't know how many, but I don't think it's like an absurd amount. So you can still go build this team. Again, it's something I would build after Dr. Aphra. I would still get Dr. Aphra first because she's a better team than the Sana team is, and then you can go build this Sana team. Again, it's just, these side projects, like where do they kind of fit in? It's hard to, I can't put like a GP threshold here, right? Like I could because that's what people want, right? People want me to say, oh, at 6 million galactic power, that doesn't make sense. And this goes hand in hand kind of, and I've been saving this for, a good time to bring it up. And I got asked this question from, Kuba Gracie, so shout out to Kuba Gracie for this. They asked, what can you do in the short term and long term when facing much stronger opponents in GAC? How do you manage your resources? What are things to do? What are things to avoid? So one of the big things I would answer with there is that these side projects, understand if you're losing because you don't have enough Galactic Legends or if you don't have enough backbone, like AP Games calls them backbone or your core teams, everybody's got a different name for them, but if you're losing because you don't have a Dash Rendar team, right, that you're like, man, that's the one thing I'm missing, go build it. And then you'll be missing something else because you'll climb up, right? But that's the idea is just you're going to have to find out when and why you're losing your GACs to these larger opponents. Like, I just didn't have enough GLs. Okay, build the GLs. Now I've got to build these other teams and that team. You'll figure it out. All right, then we got Cowcast, right? The new Cal that's coming into the game. I say understand impact. What I mean by this is not like the impact that Cal Survivor is going to have on the game. What's the impact that Seer, Cowcast, Tarful, Saw Gerrera, and Marin are going to have to your account? Are you going to be able to actually utilize these characters? Because yes, Cal Survivor may be good, but if you go and get Cal Survivor and then you have a Tarful and Saw Gerrera and Marin at relic levels just sitting on your bench because you don't have their teams built up, unless Cal Survivor is the greatest character in this game, that's not worth it, right? Like that's not enough for you to have done that. To have 3 relic characters that are literally going to sit there doing nothing. You could have built Starkiller for that or something, right? So understand the impact that these characters are going to have on your account. Are you going to be able to utilize them? Do you have their teams ready? And if not, when do you intend to build them, if at all? And what that impacts your rostering. Saw Gerrera being a, C team for defense or something like that, right? Just, you've got to figure out what to do and how it's going to impact your account, or else you're just going to end up in a situation where you're going to build a bunch of things and you're not going to have a cohesive account that's working together. All right, and then the Sith Triumphant, probably one of my favorite things. I saved it for last for a very good reason. The Sith Triumphant is something that you need to plan ahead for. Because, Darth Sion, you could start working on that when you're going towards, like, the Finalizer, right? Because he shares a node with the shuttle. Darth Traya you can get out of the raid rewards, so you can get her. And then Darth Nihilus, though, is kind of on his own node. And that's why I say plan ahead. That when you want to get Traya, you need to get these other guys up and running. So you got to plan ahead because 2 of them are on hard nodes, and then one of them is... Now, Traya is very easy to get at this point. I mean, it's very easy to get Darth Traya just if you go, like, full bore into her. So, I don't know. Hopefully this helps you guys kind of figure out when to build things. I probably not as helpful as you'd like because I'm not telling you when to do it at specific galactic power. But that's the thing. It's not at galactic power. There's these side projects. It's all about understanding how it's going to impact your roster at a specific time. That plan a little bit, right? With something like Dr. Aphra, how are you going to be able to use Sana and Hondo, right? With Dash Rendar, like, you've got Dash. Do you have enough team? Do you have enough characters that you could make this work, that you could make that team click together, right? So hopefully this helps you guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Like and subscribe. Leave your comments, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.